Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Tabansi, where we discuss everything from current events, economics, politics, and how it all relates to business and life. And today we got a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, I want to share something with you guys. You know what? You want to know one of the things I love about this channel that we're doing? It's because it doesn't make any money. Now, some of y'all watching like, wait, why would you love something that doesn't make any money? You're still doing it, sitting up there doing it. The reason I say this is simply this. Because I've noticed that whenever you have what may be deemed strong or controversial views, people generally tend to try to punish you if they disagree with you by either not subscribing, not watching, or trying to impact you in some way financially. But with this channel, given the fact that it's not a financial revenue point for us, I can just do it with fun. And I can say what I want to say from an honest point of view, obviously. And if people disagree with me, so be it. And no one can threaten me with saying, "Oh, I'm done with you." Who cares, bro? It ain't make it. It don't make me. You don't affect me anyway. So it gives me a lot of freedom, and that's exactly what I'm going to use right now. So, as you guys know, Donald Trump is now the 47th president of the United States after being the 45th president, and he came into office with a whirlwind. He just basically rang off a bunch of executive orders, some of which are sticking, others which are not. Obviously. His proposal to end U.S. birthright citizenship was shot down, at least temporarily, by a Republican judge who said that he found it to be one of the most unconstitutional things ever. So we have to wait and see how that they elevate it to the Supreme Court, and let's see what happens there. He's had other endeavors that he's tried to implement, which are successful, like this, the deportation of illegal immigrants. First, it was supposed to be against criminals. Now it's looking like it's not. But anyway, that seems to be working. And you have various things out there. Now, I didn't vote for Trump, but during his inauguration speech, I liked a lot of the stuff that he was saying. And one person said, "I'm unsubscribing from your channel and you're canceled from both of your channels." That's just the world we live in. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, so Trump is still going through his first week in office. But one of the tenets of his campaign was, bringing back the economy, because Biden and these guys, in the mind and eye of many voters, they feel like they ruined the economy. So Trump had always said that he's going to bring the economy back. And one of the mechanisms that he said he was planning to use were tariffs. And when he said that, some of us were a bit skeptical of how tariffs were meant to be a revenue source for the United States, or rather how it was meant to lower the costs of goods. All right. How are these tariffs going to lower the cost of goods? And he went through various ways of trying to explain it. But what I want to do quickly, because I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this show. We want to quickly play what Trump had to say as of his most recent comments on tariffs and why he's using them. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. So I want you guys to take a listen to Donald Trump here explaining why he plans on using tariffs. And we'll come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Trump here.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt.
Okay, great. So you heard what Donald Trump had to say, President Trump had to say there. Fantastic. Now I want to get into this a little bit further. So Trump is saying in this order you heard he's going to make it more friendly if you manufacture in the United States. What he's referring to is that for companies that manufacture domestically, instead of the 21% corporate tax rate that he's proposing to be 20, but the 21% corporate tax rate instead for you guys, or for those manufacturing domestically, is going to be 15%. So he's trying to give them a financial incentive and a financial edge by manufacturing domestically. He said, however, that if these companies decide not to do so, these foreign bodies decide not to do so, he's going to implement a tariff on them. Steep tariff, some 50%, 100% tariff on certain countries. And the major countries we've heard of thus far are Mexico. Mexico, Canada, and China. These are the countries that Donald Trump is looking to implement these tariffs on. Now, here's what's problematic about that, if I'm an American hearing this. The reason I would be afraid if Donald Trump says something like this is because a lot of a lot of the goods that the United States imports, because the United States is not a manufacturing economy, come from China. I want to quickly show you guys a post that I saw from CNBC. It says, here are the products from China, Mexico, and Canada most at risk from Trump tariff plans. It goes China, sneakers, furniture, and toys. It then says sneakers. Nearly 100% of all footwear is imported to the U.S. according to the U.S. International Trade Commission. About 37% of footwear imports came from China in 2023. Furniture. China is the largest furniture exporter on the globe. According to the data from the Home Furnishing Association, in 2023, 32.4 billion in furniture was imported into the U.S., 29% of which came from China. Toys. Around 80% of toys imported in the U.S. come from China, and the cost of toys made outside the U.S. could increase by 56% under Trump's proposal, according to the Toy Association. That's China. Let's move to the next one. Mexico. Car, beers, and avocado. It says cars. Most major auto makers have factories in the U.S., but they still heavily rely on imports from other countries, including Mexico. Nearly every major automaker operating in the U.S. has at least one plant in Mexico, including the top six selling automakers that accounted for more than 70% of U.S. sales in 2024. Spoke a little bit about bears, spoke a little bit about avocados, and of course you have Canada. And there's cars, coats, and French fries. It goes cars. 5 automakers, Ford, GM, Toyota, and Honda produced 1.5 million light-duty vehicles last year in Canada, largely for U.S. Consumers. And it also mentions something about French fries there as well. Where am I pointing to? What I'm pointing to is that the U.S. is a service-based economy, and it's relying a lot on these other countries that manufacture to import the goods back into the United States. Fantastic. So if Trump is saying, and I said I don't understand it then, I don't understand it now. If Trump is saying that this is going to be a revenue point, yes, it could be a revenue point, but there seems to be some confusion around how all of this actually is going to work. And a lot of people seem to be under the impression that these tariffs are something that's going to be paid by foreigners. We put up a poll on our other channel, Dreamers Pro, and I asked the audience the following question, which was this. About an hour ago, I said, who do you believe will pay for the tariffs placed on foreign countries? 3 options. The exporter, the importer, not sure. 642 people voted. 23% said the exporter, 58% said the importer, 19% said not sure. I'm sure if we were able to magnify this poll across the United States, you would see similar numbers. Maybe the numbers will skew in certain directions, but you wouldn't be too much of a change. Essentially, what's happening is a lot of people don't really understand how these tariffs are going to work, period, end of story, and that's why we need to talk about this. So according to my analysis and according to the analyses of a lot of astute people, the way tariffs works are the following. You impose a tariff on a particular country. Let's say in this case, China. Let's say you put a 50% tariff on a particular good. Okay, let's say this good is, let's say a television that costs $1,000. Fantastic. So that good initially costs $1,000 to the American consumer. If you now put a 50% tariff on that good, it now becomes what, $1,500, right? Great. So how does it work? The Chinese company says, okay, this is the price, $1,500. You bring the product to the port. Now, who's at the port? The person at the port is the importing agent, right? The custom authority agent, or whatever their designation is. Well, the question is, why is this product being imported? It's imported to be sold in the United States. So who's importing it? Well, that's simple. It can't be China. It must be the person who's selling it, which is like a Best Buy and all of these other outlets or whatever. So it's them. So they now have to pay this tariff at the border to the custom agent. This agent now collects this money, takes it to the treasury. All right. So revenue was generated. But the question is, by who? Who generated that revenue? And it's clear as day that the person that generated, the party that generated the revenue is the importer, which is the American company. Right? Now, some of you are like, okay, well, that's bad, but I don't see how it could be that bad. Of course it could be that bad, because now that TV costs $1,500. So what happens? The importer is going to pass the increase in price over to the consumer. So a TV that you used to pay $1,000 for now costs $1,500. Now that's an extreme example, but there are going to be some extreme tariffs in place. So the question then becomes 2 things. Number 1, who's really paying for these tariffs? And the answer becomes, number 1, the American consumers. And number 2, how does this then reduce the cost of goods? And you can quickly see that this is an inflationary measure if it is done at a magnified level where you're just imposing tariffs all over the place for companies that choose not to comply. That's one, comply. Number one. Number two, you may have retaliatory tariffs where they say, okay, you're going to put this good on me, I'm going to put it on you. Now, some people say, but wouldn't those countries be hurting themselves? Yes, they would be hurting themselves, but also they would be hurting the companies trying to export. They would hurt their business. Because maybe those people who are there locally may say, you know what, maybe we may not choose to import from the United States. Let's go import from another country. So my 2 points about this are simply this. This is a revenue generating system. Yes, it is. But the revenue is coming from Americans. And there seems to be this major confusion where this money is coming from. A lot of people, or a good amount of people, either don't know or are unclear on it, as we have the poll, or believe that is the foreign countries that are paying, and it's simply not them. It is the American companies who then pass the cost over to the consumers. So it is an inflationary measure. It will drive inflation ultimately if it is done at the scale that these guys are proposing to do it. And given the fact that the United States is so reliant upon Canada, Mexico, and China, I don't see how this works well for us. Some people have even tried to that's why I got to say this, because some people thought this was smart. And I'm like, you got to be insane to believe this. Some people feel like we can replace income taxes with tariffs. Let's make sense of it. They think that this money is coming from other countries, so they think this is a plausible idea without realizing, bro, you're still paying for it anyway. You think, oh, wow, I'm not paying income taxes. Okay, yeah, you're not paying for income taxes. Wait till you see them sales taxes. Wait till you go to your local grocery store, or go to your local electronics store and try to purchase them. You're going to find out whether or not you're saving money. How are you going to get rid of income taxes? How's that supposed to work in the United States? So all of this consumer, the buying that consumers are, that's going to pay for the roads and the buses and the schools and the like. What are we talking about? That's crazy. Like, let's deal with reality here. So my thoughts on this are simply this. I still don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how it's going to work, so I'm patiently waiting. Maybe there's some dark spots, blind spots in my reasoning, and I could be misunderstanding some things about this. I'm sure smarter people watching this show will let me know in the comments. But as of now, I still don't see how this thing is going to work. Because all it seems like is that the American consumers are going to be fitting the bill here. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show.